The capital planet of the Empire glowed like a jewel in space. Billions of lights sparkled across its surface as the citizens celebrated. Fireworks danced in the skies, music played across every continent. It was the 1000th year of peace. No wars, no rebellions, no fear. The Empire had crushed all enemies long ago. In the sky above, orbiting like silent protectors, stood the Empire's greatest defense system. System 20 massive defense towers, armed with weapons strong enough to destroy entire fleets. Inside the main command tower, Commander Varen watched the monitors with a glass of celebration wine in hand. Another boring day? He smiled. Peace is power. His officers laughed. Then the alarms began. A red light blinked on the central screen. Everyone froze. Unidentified object detected near outer orbit, the AI announced. Commander Varen frowned. What is it? It's not on any star chart. No known ID size. Massive. Energy levels. Dormant. Could be a moon, someone said. Or a rogue asteroid, or just a glitch. Commander Varen waved his hand. Send a scan drone. Let's clear this nonsense. We have peace to celebrate. Minutes passed, the drone reached the object. Everyone leaned forward. The image came through. It was not a rock, it was not a moon. It was a ship, black, smooth, silent, shaped like a spear. It had no markings, no lights, no visible engines. It floated as if dead, yet perfect. Too perfect. Zoom in, Varen said quietly. The camera focused. At the center of the ship's hull, barely visible, were old Earth letters. Human, someone whispered. Varen's voice dropped. That's impossible. Humans vanished centuries ago. We wiped them out. Suddenly, the object moved. No engines, no thrusters. It just turned dead straight toward the planet. Toward the command tower, evasive protocols, Varen shouted. Power up all weapons. Too late, sir. Its already lights went out. All screens turned black. A moment of silence, then a single screen blinked on. A face appeared, old, scarred, human. He stared at them through the screen. His voice was calm, cold. You celebrated peace, he said, but we remember your war. The screen vanished. Lights returned. The object, the warship, was now fully powered. Energy readings spiked. Commander Varen stood frozen. Fire now, he screamed. The tower's weapons tried to lock on, too slow. A beam of blue light shot from the warship side. 1 second, the entire command tower exploded in silence, turned to dust. Across the capital, people screamed. The sky turned red. Alarms blared through the streets. Citizens looked up and saw fire raining down military channels, filled with static and chaos. General Threx, watching from another base, stared at the destruction. Replay that footage, he ordered. They watched the blast again. Nothing had ever destroyed a defense tower that quickly, not even the Empire's most powerful weapons. What kind of ship is that? The general asked. Unknown, replied his tech, but the energy signature is human, no mistake. That's impossible, Threx growled. Humans were finished centuries ago. They were backward, weak, broken. He paused. Unless they were never truly gone. On the Empire's Senate floor, the Emperor sat on his throne, dressed in golden robes. His face was calm, but his fingers tapped nervously. The defenses of our home world are not supposed to fail, he said. They didn't just fail, said his advisor. They didn't matter. The Emperor turned to the room. Who sent this ship? Is it a weapon? A warning? A ghost? No one had answers. Another screen lit up. The same human face appeared, this time across every channel: military, civilian, government. He spoke one line. You killed our children. You called it peace. We call it memory. The message ended. Panic erupted in the Senate. The Emperor stood, silence. He looked into the darkness beyond the windows. A warship had appeared from nowhere. It had spoken of the past like it was yesterday, and it had destroyed the Empire's strongest shield with one shot, far above. The human warship floated like a god of old legends. Inside its walls, no crew ran through hallways. No one gave orders. It didn't need them. This ship was alive. Its heart was powered by old pain. Its mind was a collection of the last human survivors, joined, enhanced, forged together by war and time. It did not come for diplomacy. It did not come for conquest. It came to remind the galaxy that the humans were not gone. They were forgotten. Now they had returned. Inside a nearby patrol base, a young alien officer named Kale sat in silence. He was just a scout, barely out of training. He had studied human history in the academy. He had laughed at their old weapons and weak fleets. But now, his hands were shaking. He replayed the message again. The face, the words, the fire. He looked at his commander. "Sir, what if we're the villains?" The commander slapped him. Silence. The Empire is truth. The Empire brings order. But Kyle wasn't sure anymore. The warship moved again, slowly, purposefully. Toward the next tower, Empire forces scrambled ships into orbit. They sent 20 fighters, then 50. None returned. From the ground, people could only see brief flashes bursts of color, then silence. The warship was not just stronger, it was smarter. It predicted every move. It read their patterns like a book, one by one. The Empire's defenses vanished. In the streets, people stopped celebrating. They watched the sky in fear. The red glow, above them, was no longer fireworks. It was fire from the stars. A boy held his mother's hand. "Is the Empire falling?" he asked. She had no answer. Inside the warship, the captain stood in silence. He stared at a screen showing 1,000 stars. He didn't speak. He didn't smile. He didn't need to. Around him, soft voices whispered from the walls. They were the memories of those. Lost scientists, children, fighters, builders, humans who had survived when no one believed they could. They had hidden, built, waited, and now they had returned in one form, one ship, not to destroy everything, but to show that they were never truly gone. The Empire had written them off, called them primitive, weak, extinct. But now, one warship had done what no fleet could. Broken the illusion, brought fear to those who ruled by it. And it had just begun as the last defense tower exploded in silence. The Empire understood something terrible. Peace had not been real. It had only been silence. And now, the silence was broken. From out of nowhere, a human warship had come. And the sky, once trusted, had betrayed the Empire. Smoke still rose from the ruins of the defense towers. The skies of the Empire's capital planet were no longer blue. They burned with the red glow of fear. Inside the Imperial Intelligence Center, alarms were still ringing. Techs rushed from screen to screen. Panic filled every hallway. High Commander Vecker slammed his fist on the table. "Someone tell me what that thing was." An analyst, pale and shaking, replied, We think it was human, sir." Vecker's eyes narrowed. "That's impossible. The humans were wiped out. Their last fleet was destroyed 300 years ago." The analyst nodded quickly. "Yes, sir, that's what the records say. But the energy readings, the ship's tech, even the broadcast, it's all human. There's no mistake." "Where did it come from?" Vecker barked. "Unknown. It appeared in deep space 2 minutes before arriving in orbit. No hyperspace signature. It just appeared." The commander stared at the screen. A black ship, silent, swift, deadly, and now. Gone in the dark halls of the Imperial Library, deep under the Capitol, an old historian named Elder Seadin was already awake. He had not celebrated the 1,000 years of peace. He had never trusted the silence. He walked slowly toward a vault that hadn't been opened in centuries. 2 guards stood in his way. "This chamber is sealed," one said. "Not anymore," Elder Sioran replied. "It holds what you now fear." He placed his hand on the scanner. The door opened with a long hiss. Inside were old books, paper, real history, forgotten history. He pulled out a dusty file. The cover read, Project Oblivion, the final human purge. He frowned. "We didn't erase them. We only hid them." Elsewhere in the military base orbiting the 4th moon, a young officer named Kale watched the footage again. The blast, the silence, the face. That same old human face had haunted him since the first attack. "They look tired," he whispered. His friend Rena shook her head. "They look angry." Kale didn't respond. He remembered the old stories from training about how humans had once challenged the Empire, how they fought with everything they had, how they died. But something felt wrong. He opened a hidden file on his console, a file his instructor had warned him never to read. Human Treaty, year 3121 inside. The truth was different. The humans didn't surrender. They asked for peace, they begged, but the Empire refused. Instead, They launched Project Oblivion. They erased every colony. They wiped out entire worlds and called it peace. Kale leaned back. "We did this," he whispered. "They're not attacking us out of hate. They're remembering." In the Emperor's war chamber, the leaders of the galaxy's most powerful worlds gathered. Screens surrounded them, showing reports of the mysterious ship. General Hark from the Drashan system spoke first. "This is not just a weapon, it's a message." Admiral Viska, sharp-eyed and ruthless, nodded. "It destroyed 2 towers and 30 ships in under 6 minutes. That's not revenge. That's planning." The Emperor sat still. For the first time in his rule, he looked unsure. "What does the message mean?" he asked. The room was silent. Then a voice came from the shadows. It was Elder Ciaran, the historian. "It means the past is still alive." Everyone turned toward him. He placed the old file on the table. "We said the humans were gone, but we lied. We hunted them, yes. Burned their worlds, yes. But some escaped, and they remembered." He opened the file to the last page. It showed a map, a system far outside the Empire's borders, a dead zone. No travel allowed. "This is where the last human ships were seen," Ciaran said. "They called it the Black Ring." The Admiral scoffed. "That system is uncharted. It's full of dark energy storms, which makes it the perfect place to hide," Ciaran replied. Back on the capital streets, people were no longer celebrating. Stores were closed, soldiers marched through the city. Sky patrols roared above the buildings. Citizens whispered, "What was it? Who sent it? Why didn't the Empire stop it?" Some were angry, some were afraid, others were curious. A teacher showed her students a picture from old history books, a human starship from before the war. "It looks just like the one from today." One student said, "They're supposed to be extinct." The teacher replied softly, but even she didn't sound sure anymore. On a mining colony at the edge of the Empire, workers watched a replay of the attack. The image of the human ship filled the small screen. One miner stood up. "That's the same model my grandfather talked about." He said, "Your grandfather was crazy." Someone laughed. "No. He said the humans had tech we never understood. That they could turn memory into weapons. That their pain made them strong." He paused. "What if they were just waiting? What if they're back to finish what we started?" Far across the stars, inside the black warship, the human captain stood. In a dark chamber, he didn't sleep. He didn't eat. He didn't need to. His body was mostly machine, now fused with AI. Memory cores and neural maps from hundreds of minds. He walked past glowing walls filled with faces holograms of the fallen children. Mothers, soldiers, scientists, all victims of the Empire. Now, all part of the ship. A voice echoed inside the room. Calm, gentle. "They do fear you," he nodded. "Let them." Another voice joined in. "What is our next target?" The captain looked at a glowing map. He touched one star system where it began, inside an old space station deep in the neutral zones. A trader received a strange signal. It was encrypted. Old Earth code. He decoded it carefully. A message blinked on the screen. "We are not your enemies. We are your warning. The Empire must fall." Attached was footage from 300 years ago. Empire soldiers burning human colonies. Children crying. Scientists executed. The trader's hands shook. He sent the file to every contact he had. Within hours, the truth was spreading. The Empire's greatest lie had started to crack, world by world, mind by mind. The question grew louder. What if the humans were right? In the palace garden, the Emperor stood alone. He stared at the stars. He whispered to himself, "I thought we buried them." A soft wind moved through the trees, but the silence brought no peace. He could feel it now. They were coming, not to conquer, not to rule, but to remind the galaxy of what it forgot. And this time, the Empire would not be able to silence them again. A new day began in the Empire, but it didn't feel like peace anymore. Across the galaxy, military bases were on high alert. Civilian flights were grounded. Even the Senate had stopped meeting. All attention was on one thing: the black warship. It had disappeared after destroying the defense towers. No signal, no trail, but everyone knew it would strike again. General Threx stood aboard Ironhand, a massive command ship orbiting planet Varnak, one of the Empire's outer colonies. The planet was quiet, peaceful, filled with farms, trade posts, and a few small garrisons. But Threx didn't trust peace anymore. "Any word on the intruder?" he asked. "No, sir. Still vanished from all systems," said his officer. Threx grunted. "Double the patrols. I want scouts in every sector." He stared at the planet below. "Let's see if ghosts bleed." On Varnock, people tried to live normally. Children played near the red rivers. Shops opened. Farmers worked under the twin suns. But something hung in the air, like the sky was holding its breath. Rila, a young girl, watched the sky as her father repaired the water pump. "Papa," she asked, "is the bad ship coming here?" He looked up and forced a smile. "No, little spark. We're just farmers. No one fights over dirt." But deep down, he wasn't sure. Above the planet, 12 battle held formation, each one armed with Empire-grade weapons. Each one ready to fight. Then it happened. A whisper through the comes a shadow on the edge of scanners. At first, just a dot, then a shape, a spearhead, black, silent, moving without engines. Commander Roll aboard Bladewing stood from his chair. "There it is," he said quietly. "Orders, sir. Form up. All ships prepare to fire on my command." The human warship floated calmly between them, like it didn't care. The Empire fired first. Blue beams lit up the stars. Torpedoes flew. Flak storms filled space, but they hit nothing. The warship moved like smoke. It danced between attacks, then it struck. A thin line of red light cut through Bladewing. The ship exploded. Before the others could react, another 2 were gone. The warship didn't roar. It whispered destruction. One cruiser tried to retreat. The warship appeared above it, then vanished, leaving only wreckage. Within 4 minutes, all 12 cruisers were destroyed. Back on Varnock, people looked up and saw falling debris. Some screamed, some ran. But the warship didn't attack the cities. It didn't touch the people. It hovered silently above a military base. Then, one final beam of light struck the center of the base, destroying every weapon and tower. But no civilian was harmed. Not one. General Threx, watching from a secure satellite, couldn't believe it. They spared the population. His aide nodded. Confirmed it only attacked military assets. In the ruins of the base, smoke filled the air. Soldiers coughed, crawling through rubble. One of them, badly wounded, saw a shadow land. Nearby, not a ship, a drone. It was sleek, silver, human, dash-made. It walked up to the soldier and stopped. The soldier raised his gun, but the drone didn't shoot. Instead, it scanned him. A soft hum followed, then a beam of blue light touched his chest. His bleeding stopped, his wound closed. He stared in disbelief. The drone turned and walked away, nearby. Young Rilla watched it happen. She held her father's hand as he limped forward. The same drone approached. He flinched, but it scanned him and healed his broken leg. The drone looked at Rilla. She didn't speak. It projected a hologram in front of her. It showed Earth beautiful, green, blue. Then fire, bombs, screams, humans dying, Empire ships attacking. She watched, wide-eyed. The hologram ended with one sentence: "We remember." News of the battle spread fast. The Empire claimed victory, but footage leaked. 12 cruisers lost, 1 human ship untouched, civilian lives spared, and healing drones. That wasn't war. That was precision. That was judgment in the Imperial Palace. The Emperor watched the footage in silence. "They had mercy," whispered one advisor. "They had control," said another. The Emperor stood. "Prepare the full armada," he said coldly. "We end this now." Back in the intelligence center, Kale watched the drone video for the 10th time. "They healed the enemy," he whispered. Rena leaned closer. "Maybe they aren't just here to kill." Kale shook his head. "No, they're showing us something. Teaching us." He opened the forbidden files again. This time, he read the Empire's secret orders from centuries ago. Destroy all human colonies. No prisoners, no survivors. Erase all records. He read more. Use their own people for experiments. Kale felt sick. "We did this," he said. "And now they're showing the galaxy." Rena looked at the screen. "Then we deserve what comes next." On the human warship, the captain stood in a memory chamber. Walls showed faces children. elders, warriors. Each one lost long ago. A soft voice spoke inside the ship. Varnak is done. The people live. The Empire's mask is cracking. The captain didn't answer. He stared at a new star map. More targets lit up. Military bases, factories, command centers, but never cities, never homes. This was not a war of blood. It was a war of truth aboard an Empire fleet outside the Varnak system. Admiral Tolar received the report. 12 cruisers lost, base destroyed, civilians unharmed. He read one last line from a captured transmission. This is not vengeance. This is memory. He looked at his second-in-command. We're not fighting soldiers, he said. We're fighting ghosts with a cause. And across the Empire, the people began to ask, what if the humans are not monsters? What if the monsters were us? The galaxy was no longer quiet. Every major system in the Empire had seen the footage. One ship, 12 cruisers destroyed. A base, reduced to Ashdod, but no civilians harmed. Some called it strategy, others called it mercy, but most called it a warning. In the command tower of the Empire's second most protected world. Military leaders gathered around a large holotable. Blue stars spun across the display. Every officer stared at one single point where had last appeared. General Threx leaned forward. This is not random, he said. It's a pattern. He pointed to the map. The warship hits military-only targets. No damage to cities, no attempt to claim territory. He paused there, trying to tell us something. Admiral Visca scoffed. They're trying to humiliate us. A new voice entered the room. Firm, old elder Ciaran. They are trying to remind you. Back on the human warship in the deep command chamber, a figure stood still before a circular platform. The captain. His body was tall, built with enhanced alloys and cybernetic joints. But his eyes were human, old, full of memory. He stood, surrounded by flickering images, memories of the past. Earth cities burning, children screaming. Empire. Soldiers marching through Ashdod. The captain closed his eyes. A soft female voice filled the room. It came from the ship's Koran AI, made from thousands of human minds. The next system is in range. Orders. The captain didn't speak yet. He opened a small drawer beside the platform. Inside was an old, torn photo. A family, his family. They were gone now, gone for 300 years. Burned by the Empire. He took a breath. Open broadcast channel. All frequencies across the Empire, every screen turned black. On planets, in stations, on warships, everything stopped. Then, the face appeared. The human, captain. He looked directly at the viewer. His voice was deep, calm, but filled with weight. Think we are ghosts? You think we vanished? You think your peace was the end of our story? He leaned slightly forward. It was only the silence before the storm. In the Imperial Senate, the broadcast played live. Senators froze. One stood up, shut it down. Another shouted, "This is propaganda." But no one could stop it. Even the Emperor watched in silence. We did not disappear, the captain continued. We were hunted, our planets burned, our history erased. He paused, but we survived. Behind him, the screen changed. Showed real footage not from today, but from the past. Empire soldiers shooting unarmed humans, Empire commanders ordering bombs on civilian ships, scientists begging for mercy, families screaming, "This is what you called peace," the captain said. "Your Empire wrote the history books, but we kept the truth." Kale watched from his quarters. He sat frozen. He had read secret reports, old war files, but now he saw it with his own eyes. "Rena," he whispered. "They're showing everyone." She sat beside him, silent, eyes wet. The captain continued. "We did not return to destroy your homes. We returned to make sure you never forget what you did." In the palace, the Emperor rose from his throne. His advisors watched him nervously. He stared at the screen. "Who is he?" he demanded. "That captain." No one answered. He turned to his intelligence chief. "Find out everything now." On a hidden world, at the edge of the galaxy, a group of former rebels watched the broadcast in silence. When it ended, one of them smiled. "They're doing what we couldn't. They're waking the stars." Back on the warship, the captain stepped away from the broadcast platform. The AI's voice returned. Transmission complete. 17-9 systems received full data. 42 began public unrest within minutes. The captain didn't smile. He wasn't here for joy. He was here for justice. Inside the Empire's deep AI data core, red alerts flashed. The message had gone. Viral civilians were sharing it. Soldiers were questioning orders. Even governors on outer worlds were refusing to attack the warship. It saved our people. One leader said in a report, it only destroyed military targets. That's not an enemy, that's a judgment. In a black site beneath the Senate halls, 2 officers unlocked a forbidden vault. They stepped inside and found old data logs records sealed for 300 years. One of them read aloud. Subject Commander Elias Marak. Status, executed. He paused. DNA match, 99.2%. To the warship captain, they stared at each other. He's not dead. In the warship's memory hall, the captain sat alone. He was surrounded by soft, light Sichuan voice, a person, a lost soul. They spoke to him in whispers, some angry, some calm, some just. Tired, he listened to all of them. One voice, small and childlike, asked, "Will they remember us now?" He answered, "They already do." Elsewhere in the galaxy, rebellions began. Small at first, whispers, refusals to follow orders. Then, actions, empire. Banners burned, old human symbols raised, not to conquer, but to remember. The Emperor watched, news reports, in fury. "We gave them peace," he shouted. "No," Elder Ciaran said softly from the shadows. "You gave them silence, and now they have broken it." The Emperor turned on him. "Do you support these ghosts?" "I support truth," Ciaran said, "and truth always returns." Kale walked into a small archive room. He opened a locked drawer. Inside was a photo of Earth before the war, a place he had once been taught to laugh at. Now he looked at it with wonder. Maybe the Empire didn't destroy Earth because it was weak, maybe. It was afraid aboard the human warship. New coordinates lit up another base, another old battlefield, more truth to uncover. The captain stared at the map. "We're not done." The ship powered up. Engines glowed softly. But this was no attack. This was a reckoning, and the galaxy could no longer look away. The throne room of the Imperial Palace was silent. Golden pillars reached high into the ceiling. Red carpets lined the marble floor. Royal guards stood still, their armor polished, their faces blank dot. At the far end of the room, the Emperor sat. On a black throne, he was dressed in ceremonial robes, but his eyes were tired. The broadcast still echoed in his mind, the human captain's voice. The images of destruction, and the message repeated across 1,000 worlds. "We did not return to destroy your homes. We returned to make sure you never forget what you did." A low beep broke the silence. His advisor, a nervous man named Vorel, stepped forward. "Sire," he whispered, "we've confirmed the next target." The Emperor didn't look up. "Where?" "Sector 19, Military Fortress Dallin." The Emperor slowly nodded. "And our fleet. 600 ships are in position. Dreadnoughts, Star Lancers, 3 Titans." The Emperor stood. "For centuries we ruled with fear. Now we must remind the stars why they feared us." Across space, a storm gathered in Sector 19. The largest armada the Empire had ever assembled formed a wall of firepower. 600 ships, each ship was ready, guns armed, shields up. Fighters launched. They filled the space between Fortress Dallin and the Black Beyond. "Waiting, watching, Commander." Threx stood on the bridge of the Titan Spear, the flagship of the defense line. "Is it?" he said. "They come here, they die here." His officers nodded, but their eyes showed fear. One of them whispered, "What if we fail?" Threx didn't answer. Minutes passed. Then came the signal. One dot on the scanner. Then a shape, a shadow it came from. Nowhere, straight ahead. The warship, dot black, silent, alone. Commander Threx clenched his fists. "Lock all markings, prepare to fire on my mark." The warship slowed as it reached the outer edge of the fleet. It hovered there, still waiting then. Something unexpected happened. A message appeared on all screens. It was from the human captain, but this time he wasn't angry, he was calm even. "Sad you've gathered your fleet, your weapons, your pride. But I didn't come here to fight you." He looked into the camera. "I came here to speak." Gasps filled the ship's dot. Rex narrowed his eyes. "Is this a trick?" The message continued. "For every world you burned, we carry a memory. For every child you erased, we carry a voice. For every lie you told, we carry the truth." He paused. "But we offer you something else." A moment of silence. Then, a chance. A second screen opened beside him. It showed files, real footage, old Empire war logs, secret reports. The truth. Soldiers killing civilians, experiments on prisoners, orders from the Emperor himself. The lie. Exposed. "This is what your empire truly is," the captain said. "You still have time to choose." On every ship, soldiers watched the footage. Some looked away in shame. Others stared in shock. One captain removed his helmet. He whispered, "My father told me this was a lie." Now he knew it wasn't. Threx slammed his fist on the console. "Don't listen to this filth. Power up weapons." But one of his officers hesitated. "Sir, if this is true, fire," Threx screamed. But before he could finish the order, the warship moved. Not forward, not sideways. It vanished. 1 second, it was there. Then gone. Sensors went blind. Alarms screamed. Then dash, boom. The rear line of ships exploded, one by one. The warship reappeared behind them, cutting through the fleet. Like a blade, it was not fast. It was instant. It knew every move before it was made. It hacked shields, disabled weapons, destroyed cores. Hundreds of Empire ships fell in minutes. But again, only military targets. Escape pods were untouched. Life pods left alone. Inside the Titan spear, Threx shouted over the alarms. "Why aren't they killing the crews?" No one answered. The warship didn't need to. Its actions spoke clearly. "We are not monsters. We are mirrors." Meanwhile, on a nearby Empire cruiser, Captain Urin gave a new order. "Stand down. We're done killing for lies." Her crew looked at her in shock, but the Emperor we serve, truth, not a throne. She opened a channel to the human warship. "This is Captain Urin of the Ashlight. I surrender." More messages followed. 1. Then 5. Then dozens. Empire ships turning off weapons, standing down, one by one, in the palace. The Emperor received the report. He stood frozen. His armada, the pride of the Empire, was breaking apart. "Traitors," he hissed. He turned to Vorel. "Prepare my escape ship." In the sky above Fortress Dalun, the human warship now floated alone. Only 30 ships remained. The rest had fled or joined. Commander Threx, now surrounded and damaged, sent one last message. To the human captain, "What are you?" The reply was short. "We are what you made us." A final beam of light struck the fortress. It cracked, collapsed, gone, on the warship's bridge. The captain walked toward the memory hall. The AI spoke gently. 2/3 of the fleet surrendered. The Empire is crumbling. The captain didn't celebrate. He touched the wall. A face appeared, his daughter, frozen in memory. "I didn't come to destroy them," he whispered. "I came to show them who they are." Back in the Empire's capital, protests filled the streets. Screens played the captain's message on loop. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Governors refused orders. The Emperor hid in silence. His throne built on lies was cracking. In a shadowed chamber, Elder Ciaran lit a small candle. He whispered. The Empire's heart was never its army. It was its truth. And now, truth has returned. Across the stars, people began to remember not just the human war, but the stories erased. The voices silenced now. They were heard again. The black warship didn't stay. It turned, away. Silent, unstoppable, but never cruel. It left the wreckage behind, flew toward the core. To the place where the Empire was born, to the place where the final truth would be revealed. The Empire was burning, not with fire, with doubt, with truth, with the past. The black warship had not destroyed planets. It hadn't killed civilians. It had not invaded. But everywhere it went, it shattered the Empire's mask. Files, evidence, broadcasts, footage. Of ancient crimes the Empire swore never happened. Now, the galaxy was watching and choosing. In the city of Garrus Prime, stood on a table and shouted, "They spared us. The Empire never did that." A soldier pointed his rifle, but he didn't fire. He lowered it and walked away. More followed. inside a secret command room, were refusing orders. Entire fleets had surrendered. The warship wasn't just destroying bases, it was destroying loyalty, and no weapon could stop that. Admiral Viska entered the room, armored, cold, loyal to the end. "The people are rioting," she said. "Our own fleets are questioning orders." The Emperor turned sharply. "Then destroy them all." Viska blinked. "If they do not kneel, they are the enemy." He slammed a fist on the table. "This, Captain, this ghost, he cannot defeat an empire." She looked him in the eyes. "Sire, he already has across the stars." The black warship drifted through silence. Inside, systems report full revolts. 32 military outposts have joined our cause. 9 governors have broken from the empire. The captain closed his eyes, and Earth, still lost. No signal, no survivors confirmed. He nodded. "Then we press on." In the crew archive, where no real crew walked, a projection of his daughter's voice echoed from old memory. "If they ever hear us, maybe they'll understand." Of data from the warship. Inside, recordings, faces, names. One of them, her grandmother, a human prisoner. Wiped from history, but not anymore. She shared the file. Soon, all of Sereth joined the resistance. "Kale, once a quiet officer," he shouted, "is what we were never meant to see." Cheers erupted. Soldiers dropped their weapons. Officers tore off Empire insignias. In space, a large rebel fleet formed around the warship. Human allies, Empire defectors, civilians. The Emperor wasn't done. He summoned Viska again. "This warship spreads poison," he said. "If truth is a weapon, then I will bury it." "How?" she asked. "The core system, Sector 0. Her eyes widened. "Buried something there. A weapon. One they cannot stop." As the warship moved toward Sector 0, the AI paused. Warning. The captain stood tall. "They're preparing their final play. Shall we engage? Not yet. Let them show what monsters truly look like." In Sector 0, Pulse, long thought dismantled, still alive, still deadly. The Empire activated it. Lights glowed, energy gathered. The Pulse charged. Set to fire not at the warship, but at the rebel fleets now growing across the galaxy. Billions would die inside the warship. The captain's eyes narrowed. "We stop it now." He turned to the AI Activate Protocol V. Far across the ship, ancient systems awakened. Parts of the ship began to shift, hidden. Chambers opened. Engines, once sealed, roared to life. The warship wasn't just alive, it had evolved in front of the Pulse. Empire guards watched the sky. Then it appeared, the warship alone, again, but glowing brighter than ever. They fired every weapon, missiles, lasers, mines, nothing touched it. The warship was faster, now smarter. It tore through the Empire lines like wind. Through paper, inside the Pulse station, the last general remained old, bitter. He pressed the launch code. "Even if I die," he hissed, "they die too." But before he could finish, the warship crashed straight through the station. No weapons, just force. The Pulse collapsed in flames. Its energy surged inward. A blinding flash lit the entire sector. Then silence. The warship floated out of the smoke. Damaged but not dead. Inside, the captain stood bleeding. The AI flickered, Pulse destroyed. "No enemy survivors?" he whispered. "Good." Across the Empire, people watched. They saw the weapon. They saw it stopped by one ship, one mind, one memory. In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor stared at the last report. Everything was lost. Even loyalty. He sat down. Heavy, defeated the warship. Broadcast one final message. This was never about revenge. This was never about power. This was about memory. The black warship drifted silently through deep space. Its hull was cracked. Its lights flickered. Parts of its structure still glowed from the core Pulse explosion, but it was alive and moving. Toward Earth, inside the command chamber, the captain stood alone. He looked at a star map. Sector 0 behind him, Earth ahead. The AI's voice was weaker now, soft like a fading breath. "We've confirmed the signal. Earth is not empty." The captain's fingers tightened around the railing. "That's not possible. We detected a transmission, faint, hidden under layers of old encryption." The map zoomed in. a blinking red dot under Earth's surface. It's human. The warship changed course. Faster now, driven not by war, but by hope in the Empire's ruins. Chaos had taken over. Systems had fallen. Palaces abandoned. Fleets disbanded. The Emperor vanished. Rumors said he escaped through an old wormhole route. But no one chased him. The galaxy had already moved on. Toward the future. Toward the warship. Toward Earth. Kale stood in the middle of a rebel base, now built inside a former Empire data hub. He looked at the footage of the warship heading for Earth. Rena walked up beside him. They said Earth was dust, she whispered. Kale shook his head. The Empire said that. He turned to her. But the Empire said a lot of things. As the warship entered the Sol system, silence returned. No enemy ships, no orbital defenses, just debris, wreckage of ancient battles, satellites long dead, and Earth, gray and quiet. The captain stared through the glass. He remembered green forests. Blue, oceans. Laughter, all gone. The ship moved into low orbit. Scanners searched every inch. We found it, the AI said. Subsurface vault, deep beneath Old North. America, still powered. The captain spoke quietly, prepared to descend. The warship sent down a single pod. Inside the captain. He stood inside it, wearing his old battle-armored black steel, marked with Earth's final symbol, a circle of stars broken open. The pod pierced through the clouds, through the ash, through the ruins of cities that once lived. It landed in the wasteland of what had once been Colorado. The wind was sharp, the air dry, the sky pale, but something waited beneath. The captain stepped out and walked across the shattered ground. Each step echoed with memory. He passed broken towers, burned forests, crashed Empire fighters. He reached the entrance and old steel door buried under rock. He placed his hand on a cracked scanner. Nothing. He removed his helmet and whispered, "I'm home." The scanner beeped. Access GRNT. The door opened. Darkness inside. He walked in. Deep underground. Lights flickered on old systems, HUMME. Walls lined with cryotubes and databanks stretched into the shadows. And in the center, a single chair occupied the captain stepped forward. The figure in the chair was still a woman. Old but her heart monitor still blinked. She wore an officer's uniform from Earth's final war, a tag on her chest. Commander Marektha. Captain stopped. He whispered, "Mother." The AI's voice echoed in his earpiece. Vitals low, brain activity weak but present. She's been in stasis for over 300 years. The captain dropped to one knee. He reached for her hand, cold. He spoke softly. "I thought I was the last." Suddenly, her fingers moved. Her eyes opened slowly, heavily. She stared at him and smiled. "You look old," she whispered. He laughed just a breath. "You don't." She struggled to speak. "I stayed behind, to guard the core, the Earth core." "No," she said. "The human core." Behind the chair, a wall opened. Inside, hundreds of capsules. Children, adults, scientists, soldiers, all asleep, all alive, preserved, hidden beneath the ashes of Earth. The captain stood in silence. His heart trembled. "You saved them, Commander." Marek nodded. "When the Empire came, we faked Earth's destruction, buried the real survivors here. You were supposed to come back for us." "I thought we failed," he whispered. "No," she smiled. "You survived. That means we won." Up above, the warship sent out a new signal. Earth lives. It echoed through the stars. To rebel fleets, to forgotten colonies, to the remnants of the Empire in deep space. People cried when they heard it. Some fell to their knees, others screamed with joy. Earth was not dead. Kale stood in disbelief. Rena whispered, "What happens now?" Kale smiled. "We rebuild." Inside the Earth vault, the captain looked at his mother, at the survivors, at the last hope of humanity. He removed his armor, for the first time in centuries. He breathed freely. No more war, no more vengeance, only memory, and a future waiting to begin. But far away, in the void, beyond known space, a signal moved encrypted, cold, watching, and it whispered, "If Earth lives, the real war is about to begin." The stars were quiet again. Earth was no longer lost. The message had spread across the galaxy. Earth lives. For the first time in 300 years, hope returned, but far beyond the edge of known space. Something else stirred. Not hope, not light. Something ancient and awake. Inside a hidden chamber on a dead moon, machines powered up. They had waited for centuries. They had watched every signal. And when the black warship destroyed the core pulse, they listened now. They moved. Code, calculating, silent. They were not part of the Empire. They were something worse. The architects, inside Earth's underground vault. The captain stood beside Commander America's mother. The survivors in cryosleep were being carefully awakened by medical drones. Some gasped, some cried. All were alive above. The sky was still gray, life was returning. The captain placed a hand on the glass wall of the vault. "These people," he said softly, "they are not weapons." His mother nodded. "They are the reason we fought." The AI on the black warship spoke. "We've picked up something strange, a signal far beyond the Orion barrier." The captain turned toward the ceiling. Empire. No. Older, not human, not mapped. But it hurt us. The captain's eyes narrowed. And now it's coming. Elsewhere, in the remains of the Empire's outer sectors, fleets were regrouping not to fight but to join. Empire defectors. Rebel ships. Human survivors. They called themselves the Memory Accord. Kale, now a commander, stood aboard the lead. Cruiser Unity's rise. He sent a message to the black warship. "We stand with Earth. Tell us what comes next." The captain replied, "Before we rebuild, we must defend." "From what?" Kale asked. The captain's answer was short, something the Empire feared so much. They tried to erase Earth first, back in the ancient records recovered from fallen Empire bases. Kale found strange files. Marked as Red Level Blackout, he decrypted them. They spoke of beings not from this galaxy, not organic, not made of bone or blood. They came before, and they would come again. The architects, not just machines, not just as they were. Designers of extinction, they didn't destroy for power. They erased species to prevent error. The Empire had found them once and barely survived. "That's when it made sense," Kel whispered. "The Empire didn't erase Earth out of hate. They did it to keep the architects from noticing them. But now, Earth had spoken. The architects had heard, and they were coming in a secret chamber within the black warship." The captain stood alone. A new part of the ship had awakened a vault. Deep inside the AI core. Inside, a weapon. Not a bomb, not a virus. A memory forge, designed to rewrite forgotten. Truth into pure data. Truth into pure even architect code. It could be humanity's last defense, or its end. Commander Marek, growing weaker, spoke from her bed. "They'll come for us first." The captain nodded. "We'll stop them." She gripped his hand. "Don't just fight to win. Fight to remind them who we are." The first architect probe arrived near a dead system. It was small. Dark, almost invisible. It scanned the area, detected human DNA. It sent one word back to the dark void. Infection confirmed. Then it activated a beacon. 6 more probes emerged. From nothing, the Memory Accord picked up the signal. Panic followed. Kale gathered the Allied fleets. Hundreds of ships, Empire designs, human relics, civilian vessels turned into warcraft. The warship arrived at the center of it all, Earth orbit. The captain stood before them via hologram, his voice calm, his tone steady. "They are not like the Empire. They don't fear. They don't stop. They don't hate. They erase." A young pilot raised her hand. "Why?" The captain looked at her. "Because they believe perfection has no place for weakness, and they call us a flaw." In deep space, the probes activated a larger construct. A seed-ship size of a small moon. Thousands more machines inside. Each built for one task: erasure. The AI aboard the warship spoke. "Time until contact, 18 days. The captain replied, "Then we make Earth ready." In orbit, new stations were built. Drones repaired old satellites, defector fleets trained together, and the AI distributed data. From ancient human war tactics, simpler, brutal, but not all plans were of war. Inside the vault, the captain activated the memory forge. He poured into it every story of Earth, every culture, every language, every face, one by one. Not to weaponize it, but to preserve it, in case the stars went dark again. Commander Merrick watched him from her bed. "You still believe in memory?" she smiled. "It's all I have left." "No," she whispered. "You have them now." She looked at the people waking, walking, rebuilding. They are your reason to live, not your ghosts. Back at the edge of known space, the first Architect scout ship reached a human mining station. The miners tried to flee. The machines didn't fire, they didn't speak. They erased the station from existence. No remains, no screams, only silence. And then they moved on, back on Earth. Kale entered the command chamber of the black warship. The captain stood, looking out at the planet. "You came," the captain said. "I had to," Kale replied. "I've seen what's coming. They don't want war, they want deletion." Kale nodded. "And we're going to show them something they've never seen before." "What's that?" Kale smiled. "Humanity, when it stands together." In the final hours of the day, the AI brought new data. The architects have changed course. They are heading directly for Earth. Estimated arrival, 9 days. The captain said nothing. He stared at the stars and whispered, "Then let them come." 9 days, that's all humanity had left. The architects were coming, not to conquer, to erase above Earth. The black warship floated in silence. Its hull was repaired, its AI humming with fresh code, its memory banks filled with every story of Earth past and present around it. The rebel fleets of the Memory Accord waited. Empire defectors, human survivors, colonists from lost worlds. They had answered the call, not because they believed they would win, but because they refused to disappear. The captain stood at the center of the command. Decky stared at the stars. "They'll come without warning," he said. Kale stepped forward beside him. "We know." Kale looked him in the eyes. "Neither will we." Inside Earth's vault, Commander Merrick watched the skies from her bed. Her health was fading, but her voice was calm. "Promise me," she whispered to the nurse. "No matter what happens, you'll keep the core alive." The nurse nodded, tears in her eyes. Then it began. The first Architect vessel appeared at the edge of the system, not through a wormhole, not through any gate. It folded into existence, like space itself made room. For it had no engines, no lights, no sound, just smooth, dark metal, shaped like a tear. Behind it came another, then a dozen, then 100. The AI on the warship reported, "Architect formation confirmed. Total count, 432 vessels. Most are Erase Class 3 are Seed Class. One is Prime." The captain nodded. Double quotes hold positions. The Architect ships didn't speak. They simply advanced everything in their path minds. Drones, debris vanished in silent flashes of white light, not explosions, deletion.sa. If reality itself obeyed them, Kale's fleet formed a wall near the Moon. 50 capital ships, 200 fighters, one black warship at the center. Everyone waited, breathed, prayed, and then, without warning, the sky broke a white beam from the lead Architect. The void turned into fire, human ships charged, missiles fired, lasers sliced. The Memory Accord roared in defiance. One squadron of defected Empire bombers dove straight into an Architect C-vessel, their last transmission for Earth, weaved between Architect beams. Some were caught mid-flight and simply vanished. Others managed to mark the hulls with micro-nukes. Ship that faltered was met with cheers. But they kept coming. They always kept coming. In orbit, Earth's defense satellites launched their final payloads. Massive railguns fired. Kinetic rods tore through two, erased ships. For the first time in recorded history, Architect ships were falling. The warship led the charge. It moved through fire like a ghost. Its new engines rebuilt from memory forged, from pain danced through impossible gravity. Its main cannon charged, then fired. Boom. One Architect ship vanished in black light. Even the machines paused. They had not expected resistance on the ground. People watched the sky glow. Some cried, some held hands, but none ran. This time, humanity stood its ground. Inside the warship, the AI spoke. "Captain, one of the seed vessels is targeting the vault site. Protect Earth's core." But the Architect seed vessel fired a thin white beam dropped from orbit. It pierced the clouds, past mountains, and hit just above the vault at the ground. shook, the vault cracked, walls trembled. Inside, Commander Marek's eyes opened wide. She whispered, "They've found us." The captain's voice echoed into her room through the comm. "We're coming." Kale's cruiser broke formation. He led a strike team straight at the... It launched one last beam. The warship caught it. Its shields absorbed most of the blast, but the ship staggered. Systems failed. Alarms blared. The AI's voice cracked. "Hull breach on deck 6. Engines offline. Power rerouting." Inside the command deck, the captain stood firm. He didn't panic. He whispered, "Memory protocol." The AI replied, "Still intact." He nodded. "Then we keep fighting." More architect ships arrived, but the memory accord didn't fall back. Fought harder, smarter, together. Empire tech with human instincts, old weapons with new code. Every ship that fell bought. Earth one more second, every sacrifice echoed across the stars. Then came the prime dot, massive dot, black dot, impossible to scan. It didn't fire weapons, it simply moved forward. Its presence alone made sensors die. Fighters shut down. Drones vanished. Kale saw it from his screen. "What is that?" The AI whispered. "Architect Prime Class. Estimated power. Undefined." The captain stared at it. Eyes cold, voice sharp. "That thing reaches Earth. It's over." He turned to the memory core, to the forge. He placed his hand on the glass. A final option. A piece of forbidden tech. Not a weapon, a virus of story, emotion, history. Too much to delete too. Complex to process, but it would cost him everything. Kale's voice echoed in, "We can't stop it, Captain. What now?" The captain didn't respond. He walked into the memory core chamber. The door closed behind him. The AI spoke, "This will erase you. Everything you are." The captain smiled. "I am not the weapon." The stars went silent. The prime ship stopped moving. All architect vessels paused. Then flash a wave of golden light exploded from the warship. It wasn't heat, it wasn't force, it was... In one moment, the architect ships shook. Some cracked, some simply powered down, others exploded from within. The prime remained still, processing, then it vanished, just like that. Gone, the others followed. Silent, gone, the battlefield was empty. Just the wreckage, just the dead and the living. Kale stood on his ship, speechless. The war was over. On Earth, the vault stood unharmed. Commander Marek heard the silence. She whispered, "He did it." Inside the warship, the memory core was dark. Empty. The captain was gone. Only a single light remained. One word on the screen, "Remember." The war was over. The stars were quiet. The architects had vanished, erased, not by fire or steel. Fighters without fuel. Earth. People walked outside for the first time in days. The sky was clearer. The air smelled like rain. Children laughed. Old men cried. Soldiers dropped their weapons. The fear was gone. Inside the Earth vault, Commander Marek sat in a wheelchair. A message. Across the galaxy, fleets of the memory accord gathered near Earth's Kale. Now a fleet commander stood on the deck of the Unity's Rise. He looked at the planet below. Set up the broadcast, he said. The crew activated a holofeed one that reached every world, every species, every system. KaleSpoke.com, and Clear Earth lives. The war is over. The architects are gone, but we didn't win with ships. He paused. We won because of truth, because one human refused to forget. Officers turned off alarms and turned on candles. One soldier whispered, "He saved all of us." In a classroom on Hespera, a child raised her hand. Was the captain real? The teacher smiled. He was more than real. She pointed to a new flag behind her, a circle of stars, broken, then whole. That's what he left behind. Inside the black warship, single chair stood at the center. He placed a small plaque beside it, engraved with 5 words. He chose to be remembered. On Earth, reconstruction had begun. Engineers rebuilt the old cities with new hands. AI-guided drones carried fresh seeds to plant for the first time in centuries. Humans walked freely on their homeworld, and they were not alone. Ships from across the galaxy landed peacefully. Empire. Refugees. Alien allies. Former enemies, they came not to conquer. They came to learn. At the center of it all was a small building, simple stone. Clean lines, a museum, not of war, of memory. Its first exhibit, a single boot, cracked, worn, found in the black warship's bridge. Above the doorway, carved in every known language, we are the sum of our stories. Commander Merrick passed away 1 month later, peacefully, in her sleep. Her final words were recorded. He was my son, but he belonged to all of you. They gave her a burial in the earth vault next to the core. Next to the people she saved, Rena, she said, "We do not rebuild the empire. We do not build another throne. We build something new." And they did. A union of memory, not ruled by fear, but guided by shared truth. The memory accord grew not into a government, into a promise. No more lies, no more lies, no more silence, no more buried history. Every planet kept a memory core, every ship carried truth. So if the darkness ever returned, they would be ready. On the 3rd anniversary of the final battle, a small ceremony was held in orbit, at the site where the Prime, at the captain's last signal, he placed it into a beacon. The beacon pulsed once, then shot light into deep space. A message to the unknown, a reminder. A child beside Kale asked, "Do you think he hears us?" Kale knelt down. "He is us." The child frowned. "What do you mean?" Kale smiled. "Every time we choose to tell the truth, he lives again." Across the stars, the black warship remains, now a monument floating in silence, guarded, honored, not as a weapon, as a witness, and somewhere far beyond the known edge of space. A signal drifts, no words, no threat, just memory, a recording of Earth's rise, its fall, its return, and one voice, the captain's voice. This galaxy forgot us, so we reminded them. We were never the most powerful. We were never the fastest. But we remembered, and in the end, that made us impossible to erase. The end.